Hey everybody, it's Greg. How's it going? So today I'm going to review the Advanced Data Science with IBM Specialization on Coursera. So as you may have guessed, this is designed as pretty much a follow-up to the Professional Certificate by IBM on data science. It's maybe a little bit heavier than that actually, because as you can see here, it does say advanced level, designed for those already in the industry. So what I would recommend learning before this is, make sure you've done SQL, make sure you're relatively comfortable with the data science ecosystem in Python, like pandas, NumPy, that type of thing. Maybe Excel, at least are familiar with spreadsheets. Not that they're really going to do this here, but understanding data for sure very well. And the machine learning stuff, you probably should be familiar with most of the algorithms before, and deep learning stuff. So it is sort of designed for people that have done quite a bit in this. The main purpose of this is, of course, for learning things. It's for actually showing how to make things scalable. But I would say probably the biggest piece of this is just getting a certificate that goes above and beyond what most people are going to obtain, at least through the IBM. As you can see here, 2,249 ratings on 4.4 stars. So pretty well rated. Not that many people have taken it. Still a fair amount of people have taken it. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So the skills that you will gain here: data science, Internet of Things, because it's talking about making things scalable, kind of deploying things; deep learning, Apache Spark. So this is going to be huge. It kind of assumes that you already know a little bit about deep learning. Statistics, machine learning, and LSTM is really just some word they threw in there. It's encapsulated in deep learning for sure. Okay, so as a Coursera certified specialization completer, wow, they're really hyping that up. You will have proven deep understanding on massive parallel data processing, data exploration, visualization, and advanced machine learning and deep learning. You will understand the mathematical foundations behind all machine learning and deep learning algorithms. You can apply knowledge in practical use cases, justify architectural decisions, understand the characteristics of different algorithms, frameworks, and technologies, and how they impact model performance and scalability. So as you can see here, they're not really talking about just doing stuff in a Jupyter notebook. They're saying you know these things, you're familiar with most of them by now, and then you are able to actually have a big impact in a company because of that. Okay, so that's really their goal here. In the learning project, they're going to have a bunch of different technologies that maybe you've only used, maybe you haven't even used Apache Spark, maybe you've only used Scikit-Learn before, TensorFlow, Keras, maybe PyTorch, but there's so many others here that they're going to get used to. SparkML, SystemML. To be honest, I'm not familiar with all of these technologies either, but it is going to be great. It's very useful for you to learn. Okay, so looking at the courses, so let's go to courses. And course 1 is the fundamentals of scalable data science. Okay, so Apache Spark is indeed the de facto standard for large-scale data processing. This is the first course of a series of courses towards the IBM Advanced Data Science specialization. We strongly believe that it is crucial for success to start learning a scalable data science platform, since memory and CPU constraints are to most limiting factors when it comes to building advanced machine learning models. Okay, this is very, very true. When you go into your first company, you're going to start hitting all these technologies, and a lot of people get a roadblock very early on in their career because of this, because it's like you got past the interviews because of machine learning stuff, you know this, and then you get into the job, and it's like, what are these technologies? What is all this distributed computing? I have no idea what's going on. This will be very beneficial for that. So in this course, we teach you the fundamentals of Apache Spark using Python and PySpark. Okay, so it is through PySpark, which is wonderful. We'll introduce Apache Spark in the first 2 weeks and learn how to apply it to compute basic exploratory and data preprocessing tasks in the last 2 weeks. Okay, so pretty much just a course in PySpark, and that is why they say you can take over the role of a data engineer in any modern environment. It's true. A lot of people use PySpark. It's not really that, I think they're really overhyping that a little bit. Data engineers, their job isn't just to write simple PySpark code, but this is not overly simple. They're going to go in depth quite a bit here. So after completing the course, you'll be able to describe statistical measures used to reveal patterns within data, recognize data characteristics, patterns, trends, deviations, or inconsistencies, and outliers, identify useful techniques for working with big data, such as dimension reduction and feature selection methods. Okay, that's huge to do that at scale. And use advanced tools and charting libraries to improve the efficiency of analysis of big data with partitioning and parallel analysis. Okay, it's starting to get into the scary words, but seriously, learning this stuff is so vital. visualize the data in a number of 2D and 3D formats with all of these different things. I forget what a Pareto chart is. I've heard that before. And multidimensional scaling. Okay, so it's true. Working with multidimensional data is really, really important. And a lot of people their visualization skills are stuck at very simple dashboards or, very simple scatter plots. And this is going to go into some of the more complex stuff to really show that, which is great. For successful completion, they are going to list the prerequisites right here. Definitely programming skills in Python, more than basic, skills in Python for sure. Basic math, so yeah, decent level of math and analytics, and SQL for sure. And they're recommending to go to the course that I just recommended, I believe, the Learn SQL for Data Science by the University of California. Pretty much if you think you know SQL, then you're good to go. Okay, in order to complete the course, we will use these technologies: Jupyter Notebooks, Apache Spark, and Python. It's my dream. I absolutely love those things, so I definitely agree with that. Okay, course 2 is on advanced machine learning and signal processing. I know that many of you are probably bombarded by the term signal processing. Don't really worry too much about that. In this context, it pretty much just means machine learning. So in this course, we'll learn about the fundamentals of linear algebra to understand how machine learning models work. Really love how they're doing that. Then we introduce the most popular machine learning frameworks for Python, which is Scikit-Learn and SparkML. SparkML is making up the greatest portion of this course since scalability is key to address performance bottlenecks. Okay, that is wonderful. It's so great that they teach all that. We learn how to tune the models in parallel by evaluating hundreds of different parameter combinations in parallel. We'll continuously use a real-life example from the Internet of Things for exemplifying the different algorithms. For passing the course, you are even required to create your own vibration sensor data using the accelerometer sensors in your smartphone. So that's really, really cool. They're getting you to do actual things that a company might actually need you to do rather than something that's so dreamed up to be so simple, like you just do a scatter plot or something in a course. They're getting you to do actual things here. It's really great. Okay, course 3, Applied AI with Deep Learning. So we're going to learn about natural language processing, computer vision, time series analysis, many other disciplines. Okay, so all about the neural networks that make that up. Even though they kind of go over this stuff, I still sort of recommend that you've learned it from a different resource beforehand, so this is pretty easy and that it's kind of more of a review. But it's not necessarily true that you need to have done deep learning before all of this stuff. We've learned about anomaly detection, time series forecasting, image recognition, natural language processing by building up Keira's models on real-life examples from the Internet of Things. Okay, lots of different data. Finally, we learn how to scale these artificial brains using Kubernetes, Apache Spark, and GPUs. Man, this is a great course, okay? So it has 4.4 star ratings, and I believe a lot of that will be because a lot of it will be kind of briefly done and sort of assume that you've done it already. So I would definitely recommend doing the Engineering Machine Learning course, the Engineering Deep Learning Specialization, or the IBM Machine Learning before doing this stuff, so that this is more of a review. But if you can get to that point where you can scale it using Kubernetes, Apache Spark, and GPUs, just wonderful. Okay, it's going to be really, really beneficial for you. So after that, pretty much what you've done here is in course 1, we looked at the fundamentals of scaling data science and analytics itself. In course 2, we looked at scaling machine learning. And in course 3, we really looked at scaling deep learning. Okay, this is phenomenal stuff. So if you can get to this point of course 4, Advanced Data Science Capstone, I'm not going to read it. It's obviously going to sum up the things that you've done and do a great job of making you do an actual thing with these practical skills. And this course is extremely practical. Like you don't even need a capstone for this to be very practical, but it genuinely, that'll make it even better. Okay, so I love this. I absolutely recommend this for someone that's trying to go above and beyond. You've taken the IBM data science, or at least you're comfortable with SQL, Python, machine learning, deep learning, and you want to keep going above and beyond. This is a really good course to do that. This is a really good certificate to put on your LinkedIn to show that you've gone above and beyond what most people are willing to do. Okay, this is phenomenal. If you are kind of stuck in that you've taken the recommendations that I've made, like the Entering Machine Learning and Deep Learning course, and you don't know what to do next, this is a really good first step. Okay, so do that. I hope you have a great time doing that. You might have some difficulties. It might be tough. You might need to go and learn some other things, but this is really going to help you out. Okay, so if you are not subscribed to the channel, please take a look at my other videos, see if something's interesting to you, and if you want to stay up to date with what I'm doing, then please press the subscribe button. If you got value from this video, please drop a like. I'd really appreciate that, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Thanks so much.